to number 8, which is a discussion of
7. How about 7?
Post 7, discussion of possible presentation.
I think we're moving 7 to the back to let the accountant sit through the whole meeting.
We paying them by the hour?
Of the annual audit, but the problem is he has some guests here for us, so they may not want to wait till the end. So. Then Wes, I'll turn it over to you. You can introduce.
Okay, let me introduce our auditors. This is a partner from the firm Bryce Wyson and our auditor Matt Curtis. And
You recognize Matt speaks one.
well, we've got the formal audit packages for the board. Sandra, I'll leave yours with Val to put them out for you.
Okay, and I have the report that was.
And the audit is online. So anybody in the public that wants it can go to the website, and that's available as well. We also have a letter from the auditors that is basically their final statement about that. I'll let Mac talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you. The letter that Wes is handing out right now is what we call a SAS 114 letter. We're required as part of the audit to communicate certain things to the governing body, and we do part of that, well, through management too. We do part of that through what we call the engagement letter, which is kind of the contract. And then at the end of the audit, we do this letter that just kind of summarizes what did we find? Were there any problems? And I'm not going to go through this letter with you, but just to say that we did not encounter any problems. Everything went very smoothly in the audit. Staff was very cooperative. We found the controls were in good shape. We did not issue a letter regarding controls this year because we didn't feel like there were any issues. So Ken and Wes and the staff are all doing a great job, and we appreciate their help and support throughout the audit. As far as looking at the financial statements and the audit itself, first part of it is the independent auditor's report. This is what we call a clean opinion, which means that everything was fairly stated. We had no concerns about the financial statements. Following that on page 5 is what we call the management discussion and analysis. Essentially what this is, it just talks a little bit about some of the major changes from one year to the next and the purpose or the reason for those changes. We could spend a couple hours on that alone, but for someone who's not used to governmental financial statements, I think that's a very valuable document in helping to understand just exactly what went on during the year. If you'll turn to page 14, that's the actual beginning of the financial statements themselves. The statement of net assets or the balance sheet. You can look at that and you can see that current assets, including cash, are going up. Flipping over to page 16 is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net assets. The bottom line there is that net assets increased $2.8 million. Major portion of that is the settlement, the litigation settlement, but that always helps. Page 17 is the statement of cash flows. Again, cash improved by about $4 million, and again, that reflects quite a bit the settlement. I really don't have anything more to say about that, unless there are some questions that you have that I can answer. Wes, is there anything else I should have covered?
Board have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
I just got one comment to say that looks great, Wes. We did a good job and whatnot, but we need to keep in mind that the reason this looks so good is because we had a large rate increase and the pipe settlement. If we took those two items out of there, this would look pretty bad. So we're still on kind of a tight schedule here. We don't need that.
Yeah, Wes and I talked about that just a few minutes ago. If you'll go to page 16, about halfway down the page is a line called operating loss. You'll notice that in 2011 that was almost $1.5 million. You only had just a partial year of the rate increase there. In 2012 you had a full year of the rate increase. So that's the large difference there. We do encourage that the district keep the rates up to keep that operating loss, hopefully not an operating loss, because what that means is that it decreases the ability to respond to emergencies that happen and things like that. So, what a vast improvement that is. I think that was a wise move on the board's part.
Everybody did a good job.
Did you cringe when we just approved that 9,500 that wasn't budgeted?
Yeah, well, that's very small compared to what you did.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, or?
I might mention that you don't have to have the detail of the previous years that you did, if I recall, but the continuity was very helpful for the board and for I to see the transition in the last 2 years, which has been really critical. And we appreciate that, the picture that was broad enough so that we could see that and they could get the perspective.
Sandra, did you have any comments, or?
No, I just think this was very helpful, and I agree that comparison keeps us on top of what's going on as well, so appreciate the hard work.
Thank you.
Were you looking for some action on this, Wes?
The board has to accept it, and then we'll actually get a document to you to formally accept this. But we can, if you accept it as a
Yeah, we need a motion just to accept.
motion, then we can get the paperwork.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we accept the annual audit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2012.
Give it a second.
I'll second that.
Give it a second. All in favor? Raise your right
Aye.
hand. Aye. 5 in favor. None opposed, so that passes. And we have one gentleman here that has a question.
Just a question on ordinance 2.
Thank you very much.
On ordinance 2 fees, is there any, it looks like we're still gonna be $250,000 short in ordinance 2 fees next year from fees collected from bond payments. Was that addressed in the, that's what it looked like come out of the findings. Is that correct? Because the ordinance 2 fees, I think there was some improvement, but on the last budget, it was $50,000 and there's about $500,000 in actual bond payments that were required for the year.
If I may, we recognize that the general fund's going to have to make up the difference. That ordinance 2 is not going to cover those bonds that were specifically for purchasing water. And so overall, we look favorable that package did fall short because.
But we're gonna have to take it from general fund. It's the ordinance 2 fund is gonna be depleted and it's not gonna have enough to.
It'll be gone by the end of this year.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna have to take all those bond payments from general fund now.
That's correct.
Yeah, until building increases, it's gonna be pretty tough there in that area.
I just wanted, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? Seeing none, then we'll.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are welcome to stay if you want. It's gonna get exciting from here.